Okay, very good, Hussein. That was correct. Solve for x. So the first thing we always do is we write our template. And the good thing is today you don't have to choose whether it's sine, cosine, or tangent. You just knew yesterday that everything was tangent. So we know that the only thing ever allowed in the parentheses is the angle. The only thing ever allowed in the parentheses is the angle. And then we learned yesterday that the ratio is opposite over adjacent. So it's opposite, which is x, over the adjacent side, which is 24. Okay. Well, I'm probably going to hold you accountable for plugging it in the future. You couldn't see what I was doing? Okay, Hussein. Y'all could plug in your camera still, but turn off the video, but keep the audio on. That way, if I call your name, you can still talk. You can answer me out loud. What about that? So, where's x? The next thing we do is we play Where's Waldo. X can either be in the numerator, in the denominator, or in the angle. So where's x? Numerator. So that means to multiply. So in your calculator, you're putting 24 times tan 37. And you always do a mode check. If you're using those online calculators, a lot of them are automatically in radian mode. So you need to figure out how to convert them to degree mode, how to switch the settings to degree mode. So you always need to do a mode check, make sure you're in degree mode. And what did y'all get? 24 times tan 37. Where did I put my calculator? 18. Let's round to the nearest 10. Yeah, 18.1 would be rounded to the nearest 10. Okay, number 2. This is the one where you're just writing a fraction as an answer. You're not solving anything. You're just writing the answer as a fraction. So, which side do we not use when we're dealing with tangent? We don't use, we don't use, we don't use. Oh, okay, Helaman. I'll look into that. Very good, hypotenuse. I'll look into it, Helaman. So, the tangent of A is opposite over adjacent, which is 3. And then we know the tangent of B is going to be the reciprocal of the tangent of A. So the tangent of B would have to be 1/3. We're not solving. You're not pushing tan in your calculator. The answer is 3 and the answer is 1/3. It just wants what's the tangent of A, not what's A, what's the tangent of A, and that's 3 and 1/3. Okay, here's your homework answers. Go ahead and check those. So, looking at number 13, we've got a right triangle, we've got 9, we've got 28 degrees, and we've got x. And so we know that here's our angle. This one's opposite, and this one's adjacent. So we would say tan of 28 equals opposite over adjacent. And then x is in the denominator, so we're going to divide. Denominator divide. 9 divided by tan 28. Is that what you did? 9 divided by tan 28. So we need to figure out, was your equation set up wrong, or was your calculator button pushing wrong? Button pushing wrong. 16.9. Okay. 9 divided by tan 28. Just make sure you put the 9 first. Anybody else want to go over one? If not, we're going to move on. Oh, number 4? Okay. So on number 4, 5, and 6, you're finding the measure of angle A. So it says the tan of A equals 7 over 8. Now the problem is, when you're finding an angle, when your variable is stuck in the tan function, you have to do the opposite of tangent. You have to do the opposite. You have to undo it. And the opposite of tan is inverse tan. And the way you get to inverse tan on your calculator is by pressing second tan. So you're going to press second tan, and it'll look like that, tan to the negative 1. And then you just put in what it equals. You put in the ratio. Second tan. What you're really doing is you're doing inverse tan to both sides of the equation, and that's helping you solve for x. Hussein, that's what we did on the warm-up. It wants a fraction. Express them as ratios in simplest form, ratio. It wants a fraction, a ratio. So for 7, 8, and 9, it wants a ratio. It does not want you to press the tan button at all. Okay, moving on. I say that all the time, don't I? Sound like a broken record. Okay, so we have covered tangent. We are good with tan. We've covered it. We've practiced it. Now we are going to learn where sine and cosine come into play. Remember, you pronounce this sine and you pronounce this cosine. You don't say sin or cos, because that really gets on my nerves. Not that I'll ever hear you saying it, because I don't ever hear you because you don't plug your cameras in. Okay, so you need to write this down in your notes. The tangent was opposite over adjacent. The sine ratio is opposite over hypotenuse, and the cosine ratio is adjacent over hypotenuse. So now we've used all the sides twice. We've used each thing twice. Yesterday we didn't use the hypotenuse at all. With these two, we use the hypotenuse both times. The hypotenuse is always the denominator. So the longest side is always going in the denominator. Giving you a second to write that down. You don't need to draw the picture. You're just writing the ratios down. Sine, opposite over hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. Additionally, these are on your formula chart. So you can reference your formula chart if you need to see what those ratios are. So let's practice a few. So let's do the thing where we're just finding the ratio. We're not solving for A, we're just finding the sine of A. It's going to be a fraction. So in this case, the sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse. And we would never put that as our final answer. Austin, our final answer would be? Austin, our final answer would be? Three-fifths. Okay. Now the cosine of A is not just going to be the reciprocal, so don't just flip that because that's not how that works. Now we're going to find the cosine of A. The cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. And Brandon, that's going to reduce to? Brandon? Yeah. 4 over 5. So this is really a 3, 4, 5 triangle. It's just a multiple of one of those. Okay? So there's a lot going on. We've got opposite, hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. There's so many things going on. So we need an acronym that helps us memorize all of these trig functions. And this acronym is pronounced Sohcahtoa. Say it with me. Sohcahtoa. So if you can memorize how to spell this acronym, if you can't memorize how to spell it, it's not going to be any good to you. If you can memorize how to spell Sohcahtoa, you will know all your trig functions right away. Because the S, obviously, stands for sine. You should be writing this down in your notes, by the way. And then we've got opposite over hypotenuse. C is cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. T is tangent, and it's opposite over adjacent. So hidden in that one acronym is everything you need to know about trig for geometry. Sohcahtoa. So I have a story, a really cheesy story that goes along with Sohcahtoa that I'm going to tell you right now. Now that our Sohcahtoa story is over, let's get back into the lesson. And first of all, instead of solving problems, I just want to practice choosing the right trig function. So let's just practice choosing the right one. Now, what you're going to do each time is first you're going to examine your angle, because that is your reference angle. That's what you're referencing. Okay? Then I want you to label whatever you've got. I know that 30 is the hypotenuse, so I'm going to put H for hypotenuse. I know that 18 is opposite, so I'm going to put an O for opposite. And then you look at your acronym, Sohcahtoa, and you see, hey, which one has an O and an H? Which one has an O and an H? So the winner is sine. Good job. See, I said good job because I drug sine to the checker tool. Okay, so I'm going to go to a new slide, and I need someone to request control, and then you drag the correct one to the box, and it'll tell you if you're right. Correct. Can't really use right in this unit, right triangles. Okay, Austin, you won. So what is this one, Austin? Sine, cosine, or tan? Just take the word and drag it to the box when you're ready. Ding, 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 ding. Good job. Very nice. So here's our angle. Here's our hypotenuse. We're not using that because there's nothing there. This one's opposite and this one's adjacent. So it's the toa part of Sohcahtoa, and so it's tangent. Very good. Next one, who's going to request control first? I saw George. I saw George first. Sorry. George, you're in control. Yay, it's sine. You're not saying sin in your head, are you? It's sine. It's sine. Very good. So here's the angle. Here's the hypotenuse. We'll put an H. And 14 is opposite. So it's the so part of Sohcahtoa. Very nice. Jenny, it's yours. The only one we haven't used yet, right? Very good. Cosine. So here's the angle. This is the hypotenuse because it's across from the right angle. And this is adjacent. So it's the C-A-H, the part of Sohcahtoa. I'm sorry, Taha, I'm out. I see you requesting it right there. But I'm out of, I'm out of checker tool ones. Yeah, that was my last one. Sorry about that. Okay, let's practice doing one where we write the equation and solve for x. We'll do this one together and then I'll call names, okay? So, step one, decide which one to use, sine, cosine, or tan. So let's see, what do we have to work with? Here's our angle, this is the hypotenuse, and this is adjacent. So we're going to choose hypotenuse and adjacent. We're going to choose cosine. I always recommend writing the empty template first, because to me that just kind of helps you avoid some errors, but that's up to you. In the parentheses is the angle every single time, no matter what, only the angle. And then Sohcahtoa puts it in the correct order, adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent comes first and then hypotenuse. So adjacent and then hypotenuse. Then you play Where's Waldo, Where's X? It can either be in the numerator, the denominator, or in the angle. In this case, x is in the numerator, so we're going to multiply. Multiply 12 times cosine 53. Very good question, Jenny, and I think I should have mentioned that yesterday if I didn't. They are absolutely going to be right triangles. Trig only works on right triangles. Now, 7.2, okay, good. Side note, real quick. If I ever give you a triangle that's not a right triangle, I don't know, but you're going to have to draw an altitude to make it a right triangle. Does that make sense? So trig only works on right triangles. That doesn't mean if I give you a triangle that's not a right triangle, that doesn't mean you can't solve for it. It just means you need to draw an altitude to turn it into a right triangle. Trig only works on right triangles. Okay. So was the answer 7.2? Are we good with that? In geometry, we don't do much on the coordinate plane, George. So no, we are not going to be graphing functions at all. That's not geometry. Thank the Lord. Because that's not my favorite thing. Shapes are my favorite thing. Okay, 7.2. Move on to the next one. But yeah, sine and cosine just look like this. And then tangent has asymptotes. So tangent has this and this. Yeah. Yeah, sine and cosine just do this. They intersect the axis at different times. But tangent does things like this. Kind of like that. Little parabolas, kind of. Depending on the exact equation. Okay, so what'd you pick on this one? What'd you pick, what'd you pick, what'd you pick? Tan. Yep, it's tan. Opposite over adjacent. Where is x? It's in the numerator, so we're going to multiply again. Nine times tan, 29. 4 point, ooh, round to the nearest hundredth. 4.99. So pretty much 5. It's kind of a weird one, huh? Okay, sorry, I was thinking about something. Okay, moving on. Albert, sine, cosine, or tan? Yes, very good. Sine, very good. Sine is the winner. Why is sine the winner? Sine is the winner because this is the hypotenuse, and this one's opposite, so O and H. Check and check. So in parentheses, we always put the angle. The angle goes there every time, 34. And then we put it in order, O and then H, opposite and then hypotenuse. Then you play where's Waldo, where's X? It's in the denominator, and we know denominator divide. So you put the 9 first, 9 divided by sine 34. Never put the trig function first. Always put the number, the side, always put the side first. 9 divided by sine 34, 16.09. Nearest hundredth means 2 decimal places. 16.09. Yay, G, which one are we going to use? Yay, G, earth to yay, G. Thank you, very good. So here's our angle. Here's our hypotenuse. I always label our hypotenuse first. And then that one is opposite our angle. Very good. So sine of blank equals blank over blank. In parentheses, the only thing allowed there is the angle. So don't ever put a side in the parentheses. Sine of x equals opposite over hypotenuse. Now x is trapped in the sine function. So the only way to untrap him is by doing inverse sine. So you do inverse sine. and that's going to get you an angle, and we're going to round to the nearest degree, so that means a whole number. We normally round angles to whole numbers, just as a rule. So how much? Yes, 43. 43, because the 8 is going to tell the 2 to bump up. 43-degree angle. $42.84, so it's a 43-degree angle. How many more do we have? 2 more. Let's hang in there. 2 more. Woo, we're pushing the time. Okay, let's do these quickly because we're pushing time. So, all we need is x. And x is in this right triangle. In this right triangle, we've got an angle, but we don't have a single side. So we need to solve for a side, okay? So I'm going to call this y, and we're going to need to solve for y. So, compared to 39, we've got opposite and adjacent. So we're going to start off by choosing tan. Tan 39 equals 6 over y. Denominator divide, so 6 divided by tan 39. Now, the problem with trig is when you reuse a number, like we're going to have to reuse y, we're going to have to reuse it. We want to keep our answer as exact as possible. So 6 divided by tan 39, I'm going to keep that number hanging out in my calculator, 7.4093, okay? I'm going to keep it hanging out in my calculator because I want to use the whole number. Now I'm going to look at the red triangle. In the red triangle, I've got opposite and hypotenuse. So in my red triangle, we've got sine. Sine of 46 equals opposite, which is y, over hypotenuse. X is in the denominator, so we're going to divide. Y divided by sine 46. So what you do is you take that number that's already sitting in your calculator, it's just sitting there. You can't really see that. Oh, there we go. It's sitting there, and you just press divided by sine 46. And you get 10.3, which to the nearest whole number would be 10. I would probably want to round that to the nearest tenth. 10.3. So I hope that y'all understand what I was saying with that. I would not like you to round as you go. I would not like you to round each time because every time you round, your answer gets less exact and less exact. I would like you to keep your answer in your calculator, if that makes sense. Last one, if you can stay for it, if you're still here. Last one. Remember, you can only use trig on right triangles. So you can't use trig with this triangle right here. You can't use trig. But what you can do, what I would do is I would find, because x is an angle, by the way, I would find this angle right here. And once you know that angle, you're going to know that angle, which can get you this angle. So I would find y first. Oh, we can't find y. So we need to find this whole angle. I would find this whole angle first. I'm going to call it y. So compared to y, this is opposite and adjacent. So tan of y equals 16 over 7. This is just one way to solve it, but to me this is the most direct way. So I'm going to press second tan 16 divided by 7. Second tan 16 divided by 7. And that is a 66-degree angle. That is a 66-degree angle. Well, I've already used 20 of the degrees. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's a 66-degree angle. If this is a right triangle, then this angle has to be 90 minus 66. So this angle's got to be 24. And now I can look at my green triangle. Now it's red. Now I can look at my red triangle, and I know that that has to add up to 180. So 180 minus 20 minus 24. So that gets our obtuse angle in at 136. I I understand that because some of y'all have to leave, I went really fast, and I understand that that might not have made sense. But I found that first whole angle first. That helped me get the 24, and then that helped me get the x. I used tangent because I had 16 was opposite and 7 was adjacent. I hope that's okay with you guys. Okay, your homework.